Hello everybody and welcome back to SimFly. This is Roberto Capodieci, SimFly CTO, bringing you news weekly on the updates of how things are going in SimFly. And this week I want to do an explanation that is a little bit technical, so please bear with me, humor me for a bit, and I'm gonna try to go on what is behind SimFly, okay? So here we go. You can see that I have with me SimFly. SimFly is what you use, what you see. This is the website, but what is behind the website? What is making this possible? So let's go discover what's behind the website. So here you can see this is a little bit of a schematic of the structure of SimFly. It doesn't fit all, it is okay. So here it is. We have, first of all, our server for the web apps. Means that everything you see in your browser comes from this server. This server interacts with your browser, you know, where you can open your logbook. The requests come from here, but the data come from the brain. That's where the data is saved. On the other side, we have a server that collects all the data from the client. So you see you have your different kind of simulator. The simulator talks with their client. The client sends all the data here. The data is normalized, and this server keeps the real-time data, just what happened recently in the past 5 minutes. This data then is distributed where is needed. On the other side, we have a proxy to go to read and write in the blockchain. We know that assets are NFTs, so they can be held and managed directly by you. And this is a server to keep the images, like the airport photos, rather than the license and so on. And this is connected with Web3. Another thing is the user data, like your login passwords and also the e-commerce checkout aspect. They are kept secure in this server, which talks with the web server and talks with your browser as well directly. There is when you open the sim brief for starting a mission, this data comes from here and is going here to then be delivered to your browser. So this is a little bit the structure. As you see, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different servers that set up all SimFly. Then we have also 2 more versions for development and testing. Anyway, this is how SimFly works. Now, SimFly grew organically. So from day 0, when we start implementing things, we were pretty much focusing on this server only. And there were a lot of data that were here and managed here directly only. Then we started implementing the client. There were data here, so there was an exchange between these two. Then we started creating all the logic of the functioning of SimFly, the mission, the evaluation. So we started putting the brain server up. And unfortunately, the way that the data was traveling is not really optimal. Let me show you. Okay, so once we go here, you can see that we have a little bit a recap of the central part only. Okay, so this is your browser. Consider there are many browsers here, all the talks with this server. Okay, and here there are the client. Also here there are many clients attached to many simulators. They all talk with this server here. Okay, now when we start setting up the brain, all the data collected by the clients, so all the flight, even that they're flying a recorded flight, like we call them missions, or not, all the data were sent to the brain with a very frequent pulse, like every second all the data sent up, every second all the data sent up. This server was clearing up all the data, keeping the memory of what it was needing, saving a lot of data that were not useful, and then send them to the server, which will go and send them to the browser, for example, to show all the people flying in the map. And so this round started creating a lot of problem in here. For example, you have noticed that when you press the start flight button, it was taking a long time before allowing you to fly, because before the flight, start flight button, you press it here in your browser. This request is sent here. This request is sent here. Can the user start the flight or not? This server was busy already processing all the data were coming from here. So before you can give an answer that is sent back to this person, it would take a long time. So what we start doing now is start processing the data in a different way. So a lot of data that are useful just to be visualized in the map, but are not necessary here because are not to be saved, because it's not missions, it's not critical data for the long term, it's not data that is going to end up in the logbook, it's not data that is needed to do evaluation of the flights. All the data are only sent to here and then sent to here. This makes the process much faster and free this server from processing too much data that are not needed. At the same time, this server will need to know who is in a mission in order to ask here to send this specific data. Okay, now this is not happening currently. There is no such connection here, so it's going like this and then like this, which makes things even worse. Okay, so for the missions we need to move the logic from here to here, because now all the data, all the flights are here. The logic of the mission stops here. So when the brain needs to evaluate something, need to ask a question here, get the response, elaborate, send back the data, a mess. Okay, out of my control what happened at the beginning. We're trying to fix things now. So sometimes people seems that we don't do progress, and I would like to share the fact that there is a lot of things that don't have any visual update, so you don't see visually something new happening, but behind the scene there is a lot of work that is going on. I give you one more layer of technical deepness, okay, so to make you understand also to what level we are working. This is the design of a protocol, how data are sent. Every moment a flight is captured, there are a lot of data. There is the application key that people put in the client that is needed to recognize the flight. Then there is a timestamp to see how fresh this information is. Then there is the aircraft name. Then there is the aircraft ICAO. Then there is the simulator that people is using. And then there are information like the latitude, the longitude, the altitude above ground, the heading, the ground speed, and other things that we're collecting to evaluate the missions. Now, at the moment, every single capture that is done every second or even more frequently of all the airplane is sent in full and is processing full. This makes it a lot of data. So just with a few people flying out, we are meeting with servers that are choking because too much data comes in and it takes longer to process the data, and already new data arrived in. So this is the issue. We are redesigning this so that every time data is sent, we only send what is up to date. So if all the other information remain the same, I'm gonna send only the different new information. Let's say if an airplane is parked in an airport, it's not moving, it's there, nothing changed, I don't need to send again the airplane name, all the data, the latitude, longitude, because everything is identical. I need to send the key, okay, the timestamp to show that this is new, and nothing else, because everything is identical. So I save a lot of space when I send data up, and I reduce the processing amount. For example, here I have all the data, then the only difference is the latitude, longitude, because this plane is cruising, so I only send the difference. I don't need to send again the airplane model, which is the same that was before, and so on and so forth. The receiver can always ask, please send me the old data, if there is a need to do this. So we are modifying this protocol and need to apply this protocol through all the processes that I showed you before. So every time that there is a talk between the client and the server, all these need to go in this method using this protocol, between here and here for the airplane that are in a mission, between here and here for all the airplanes that are in the map, and also from here to the browser to update the movement of the airplane in the map in the browser. So this is all the work that we need to do, because if we don't do it, we're gonna find ourselves with SimFly that is gonna stuck. So it's gonna be beautiful today, and tomorrow when everybody is onboarding it, it's not gonna work. We want SimFly to be here in the long term, so we want it to be stable, strong, and scalable. So please bear with us until we make a SimFly, the simulator experience that you want, that is beautiful, that is stable, and it grows very well. Understand that a lot of progress are not visual. You will not see much difference in what happened in the browser. We are working on the back end. Please bear with us, trust that we're working hard for you and that we're doing our best to have something amazing. So this was for today, a little bit of a technical dive into SimFly server architecture, a small dive into how things work and what we're doing. Even if you don't see visually progressing things, we are working on the backend. So bear with us, we're gonna need at least another 1 month to finish this shift into a more stable and functional system. And it is also not to spend too much money in server and to save money, and to make SimFly grow. Because with SimFly you take off and you get more.